Which DC characters did James Gunn tease for the DCU? Welcome back to Nerdist News. I'm Hector Navarro, and today we're placing our bets and predicting which unconfirmed DC Comics characters will be showing up in the new DC universe of interconnected movies and TV shows. But we're not just some uneducated dunces throwing darts at a board. We have special Nerdist darts that we use that are very nice. And we also have some knowledge about DC Comics and who these characters are, so we're also going to lay out how they might appear in the DCU. DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn, who's always been really active and transparent on social media,
thank you so much,
recently replied to a few posts listing out some unannounced DC characters fans would like to see and teased that they're already working on some of those characters. But if you want to experience the next 5 to 10 years of DC storytelling in movies, TV shows, animation, and video games without any of the brilliant insight we're about to provide for free, clogging up your brain space, you could just click mute and walk away. It actually really helped with our views. Or you can consider this your spoiler warning for potential DC Studios plans and storylines. So go ahead and take off, up, and away while you still can. You still here? Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
In response to a list of 10 potential DC characters we fans would love to see from IGN, James Gunn confirmed we'd see 5 of them. That's half. In another article from Bleeding Cool that listed 8 potential DC characters we might see, Gunn said we'd see 4 of them. That's half again. Was there any crossover between the lists of characters? Only one, Nightwing Dick Grayson, so he's pretty much a shoo-in. James Gunn also replied to another post from Collider about their list of potential characters we might see in a future movie or TV show by saying he should probably stop saying exactly how many characters we'd see because people, like us, could cross-reference all the lists, like we are right now, and figure out who exactly is going to feature, like we are attempting to do in this very video that you're watching. So apologies to James Gunn for trying to make your nightmares our reality, but it's all in good fun, and we're obviously huge DC fans that are stoked about some of these characters maybe showing up, so thanks. Gunn also said that a couple of these characters are very important very early on, and it's not who we might expect, so challenge accepted, James. Let's see if we even come close. If we do, please don't alter the plans. We promise we're going to be cool about it.
Thank you so much.
In terms of when we'd be hearing actual concrete news about some of these characters, Gunn also replied on Twitter that we wouldn't learn who everyone is within the next 6 months, but that there would be some major casting announcements in that time. So, after all that wonderful context, let's get into our actual speculation. Ready? Here we go.
Okay.
First up, we weren't kidding when we said Nightwing Dick Grayson. He's such a foundational DC character, it's kind of mind-blowing he hasn't been attempted again in a live-action film since Chris O'Donnell played him in 1997's Batman and Robin.
I need a name. Batboy, Nightwing. I don't know. What do you think?
There was supposed to be a Nightwing movie from the director of the Lego Batman movie and the upcoming Nicolas Cage vampire comedy Renfield, Chris McKay, but we haven't heard any updates on that for years. And with the new DCU on the horizon, it looks like it's finally time for Dick to emerge.
This is why Superman works alone.
But how? It's easy. The Brave and the Bold will star Batman and Robin, Damian Wayne, but James Gunn and DC Studios co-CEO Peter Safran have said it will also feature the Bat family, because those amazing characters have been absent from Batman movies for too long. Along with Nightwing, Bruce Wayne's first Robin sidekick, we think we're also going to see Jason Todd, the next character on our list and the second tragic Robin in Batman's history. Jason Todd's backstory is actually intertwined with Damian Wayne's story a little bit too. Damian's mom is Talia al Ghul, the daughter of the head of the League of Assassins in the comics, Ra's al Ghul. This is the same league that resurrected Jason Todd after he was killed by the Joker with a crowbar, using the methods used to keep hundreds of years old Ra's al Ghul alive and in his prime, the Lazarus Pits. So we're betting we're going to see not only Damian Wayne and his League of Assassins family in The Brave and the Bold, but the first Robins as well, Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, even if the latter is just a tease for a more central role in a future Bat family story in the DCU. Think about how Bucky Barnes was featured in the first Captain America movie versus when he came back as the Winter Soldier and so on. Same sort of thing with Jason, but he'll later come back as the Red Hood. With so many members of the Bat family along with the League of Assassins playing into The Brave and the Bold, we think adding the somewhat convoluted Court of Owls, Deathstroke the Terminator, or even Mr. Freeze might be a little too crowded for a film that's already shaping up to be crowded. Plus, Batgirl Cassandra Cain is another character who deserves a lot of focus, and we still don't know if the version we saw in Birds of Prey is going to stick around in the new DCU, or if we'd get a new take later on down the line. Next up is not one, not two, but three characters in the HBO series Lanterns. We know that show is going to star Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, the two most popular iterations of the Green Lantern character, but we also think we'll see a tease of one of my favorite Lanterns, Kyle Rayner, a younger Earthling who sort of inherited the mantle after Hal's tragic downfall in the comics. We don't think the DCU is going to get to that story quite yet, or maybe ever, but Kyle Rayner is a fan favorite character for a lot of reasons, like his day job of being a cartoonist, providing his Green Lantern powers a lot of fun and creativity we don't usually see with the other members of the Lantern Corps. Kyle is younger and has a different perspective that might work well off the more experienced Lanterns Hal and John. Plus, he's half Mexican, baby, and we got to get some more Latino superheroes in the mix so the largest portion of the American paying audience feels seen. You hear that, DC? Don't just leave it at Blue Beetle. Don't do that. We need more. So maybe if Kyle Rayner won't play a central role in this initial, more Earth-based investigative procedural show, you know who will? The Martian Manhunter, J'onn J'onzz. Because in the Martian's Earth-based human disguise of John Jones, real stretch there, John, real stretch. He's actually a police detective. Maybe those mystery-solving skills can come in handy helping out two Green Lantern space cops wrapping their heads around a space crime. Martian Manhunter shows up on Collider's list of potential heroes, and factoring in James Gunn's clue about some of these characters being very important very early on, we think J'onn would fit that bill perfectly. The Martian Manhunter is another foundational DC character, and we think it's high time for the last Green Martian to make a full appearance in a DC movie that gets a theatrical release, the first of many. Staying on the Lanterns show for one more character, we'd love to predict another fan-favorite hero, Vixen. Mari McCabe already had her own animated series set in the Arrowverse, and she had a fantastic role in the animated Justice League Unlimited show, where she was actually dating Green Lantern John Stewart. James Gunn has said that that show, and the iconic DC animated universe as a whole, would be an inspiration for the new DCU. So that's how we think Vixen might make her introduction, by already being an established superhero, with awesome animal-based powers, by the way, who happens to be dating Jon Stewart when he gets assigned to this mystery on Earth. Remember, we gotta start building out a new Justice League roster for the future, and we think Vixen would be perfect. Next up is another rumored character showing up in the future of the DCU, Lobo. We even made a video about how Lobo could show up, and we're just gonna reiterate here, Jason Momoa was born to play the role. He loves a character, he looks like he stepped out of the pages of a Lobo comic, and no one could play the intergalactic biker bounty hunter better. We think James Gunn and DC Studios are waiting for Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom to come out at the end of the year before announcing Momoa will also be playing Lobo in the new Superman movie, Superman Legacy. Can you imagine a young Superman early in his career having to face off against this badass Bastitch? We can and frequently do. Lobo as an antagonist for a younger Clark Kent makes more sense than Brainiac, who should be set up and teased throughout Clark's story. Also, if we're doing a younger Clark, it doesn't make sense for him to have a full-grown son like John Kent just yet. That's another great DC character we could spend years building up to. The last of 5 characters James Gunn assured us will be appearing from IGN's list of potential characters is the Mistress of Magic, Zatanna. The DC Universe's answer to the Scarlet Witch, Zatanna Zatara is another classic Justice Leaguer who we've yet to see in a film universe, and we'd love to meet her in the announced Swamp Thing movie. While the main DCU stories will probably be building towards some Justice League level threat, Swamp Thing has been promised as showing us the darker side of the DC Universe, and that checks out because Swampy has been a part of teams like Justice League Dark, alongside Zatanna. The stage magician, who's also an actual magician, would fit right at home next to Swamp Thing, so here's hoping that's where we'll see her. And if we're getting Zatanna, it means there might not be enough room for a second magic user in John Constantine. There are already iconic versions of the role in live action, not to mention announced plans that Keanu Reeves is coming back to play him again in a sequel to his 2005 Constantine movie. So for now, it would be great to see a new magic DC character. Lastly, we do have to remind folks that even after his massive announced slate that was released at the end of January, James Gunn said that video didn't even cover every movie and TV project in development, and we think one of the unannounced movies was Static Shock. Yep, we've heard a Static movie has been in development for quite a while, and we're not surprised. He's an awesome character who fans have loved since even before his hit animated series debuted all the way back in the year 2000. Virgil Hawkins is a cool and nerdy American black kid trying to balance his personal life with the responsibilities of being a superhero, and if that doesn't sound like a no-brainer movie to make, we don't know what else to tell you. In terms of other young DC heroes we might see, we think bringing in Terra without setting up the Teen Titans would be a missed opportunity, so maybe we won't get to that storyline until other Titans are established. In that same regard, seeing Green Arrow's sidekick Roy Harper as Arsenal this early into the DCU might be jumping the gun a bit, since we still haven't quite figured out how Oliver Queen is going to factor into the new DC universe. And with us listing Static as a potential character we're going to see, that is 4 from Bleeding Cool's list, including Nightwing, Kyle Rayner, and Vixen. Exactly how many James Gunn said are in development. We did it! And along with Zatanna, we got Nightwing, Jason Todd, Martian Manhunter, and Lobo from that IGN list. That's 5. We figured it out.
Okay.
But what do you folks think? Are our predictions going to come true, or did we get every single one entirely wrong? Let us know in the comments below. Give us your best pitches for how these characters might show up. And for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, stay tuned to Nerdist.com.